Hey, welcome to another video. I got something really cool here. I think I found an easier way to do color charts, and I'm going to show you my idea that I call modular color charts. Now, this is the color chart that we did previously. It took me about 6 to 8 hours to do. Lots of time, lots of effort. And then right as I was starting a new painting, I figured out that a lot of these mixtures is not working well for me, but I didn't want to remake the entire color chart. So what I did was I created a part of the color chart because all I wanted to do was exchange two different colors, or one color from the previous color chart I did, which was the transparent red iron oxide. You can see it here, and the mixtures between it and phthalo blue. Why wouldn't I just change this mixture up, this section, rather than redoing the entire color chart? And I'm calling it a modular color chart because this way, if we do color charts for limited palettes like this one, we can just do sections of the chart and then mix and match depending on what colors we want to work with, but depending on what painting. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great way to do just parts and pieces of a color chart and then figure out what these two colors or these mixtures can make. 3 colors here, 4 colors if you include white, and then keep moving forward, making paintings that we want to make and not spend so much time on color charts. So I've showed you how to make these color charts before. This is the second one that I did on YouTube, and I don't think I need to go into too much detail on how to make color charts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to time lapse this color chart, this modular color chart, this part of a color chart, and it's going to come in and out of me talking about these colors. So you'll see me making this color chart while I'm talking about what I learned between these two mixtures. So let's get into it. First off, why am I doing this? Because I started this painting that you see on the left here, and I'm covering up part of it with this color chart, but you can kind of get the idea. Now that painting was based on this photo here. And as you can see, even from the iPad, this is very cool, very blue, but my painting is green. It goes to green really quickly. And that's the very first thing that I didn't like about this color chart, was how transparent red iron oxide and phthalo blue did not go straight to like a nice gray neutral. It goes to green. These are very neutral colors, but still have a lot of green in them. And I did not like that. I wanted to be able to reach grays. So what I did on last video, I was playing around with some color, and I found that the cadmium red light, this is a Winton cadmium red light, and the phthalo blue from M. Graham can achieve some nice grays. But I wanted to make sure. So I decided to make part of this color chart, again, the modular chart, and I was able to achieve all the grays that I feel that I need for this painting. Now, I could have done this painting, this photo, with the phthalo blue and the transparent red iron oxide color chart, and everything would just be a bit more green. It would go to a green cast, but I really didn't want that. I didn't want all these greens. I wanted to achieve some grays, so that's why I did this. And what's really nice about it, especially just doing part of a color chart, is you can see the differences within these mixtures. I wish I had modular color charts for this one. That way I could compare them right next to each other, but unfortunately I can't. But look at very specific mixtures. This one right here. So this one is 3 over from cadmium red and 4 down. Transparent red iron oxide, 3 over 4 down is here. Look how green that is compared to this gray. It is such a neutral color that it almost matches the neutral gray that is a mixture of black and white for my ground here. Same with this one, just a little bit of yellow ochre added to that one. That's right. At the bottom here is just a trace of yellow ochre and everything. It gets kind of a yellow cast because that's the full palette. Cadmium red light, phthalo blue, yellow ochre, trace of yellow ochre. Of course, I don't have the specific mixtures between phthalo blue and yellow ochre, or yellow ochre and cadmium red. Those will be on other charts. Actually, I have a previous Zorn palette chart where it shows yellow ochre to cadmium red, but it's on white. I'll probably have to redo this chart, or definitely will redo this chart in the future. But that difference, that major difference, this greenish gray to this actual neutral gray is exactly what I want my palette to achieve. And that's the important part in this, is I'm trying to find what works for me. And this is the reason why I'm doing all these color mixtures, and I'm focusing on all of the different changes that happen within these mixtures. Not only that, when I was doing this, we got cadmium red light and phthalo blue. These are almost complementary colors, completely on the other side of the color wheel. I mean, if this is more of a orangey color, right? Obviously the complementary to blue is orange, but this gets close to it. So the difference in saturation is huge here. So I had to make some choices. I couldn't, within 3 values here, or 3 columns, get that wide range of intensity change or hue change. So I did utilize some of the gutters in between to kind of see those differences. So the change here is pretty extreme, especially from the first column to the 2:1. This is 2 parts cadmium red light and 1 part phthalo blue. It's important to remember that these aren't measured parts, weights, or amounts of paint. These are visual measurements, okay? This is not like a recipe where you take 1 teaspoon of this and 1 teaspoon of that. It's more like it visually looks like 2 parts of cadmium red and 1 part phthalo blue. So it's visual mixtures, not measured mixtures. I think that's the best way to say that. So that's the important thing to remember. So just to go over this real quick, cadmium red on its own to white, add a little bit of yellow ochre into each of these mixtures, and then it reverses. More light to cadmium red. Same thing is repeated throughout. This is phthalo blue straight out of the tube, then it goes to white, and then I add a little bit of yellow ochre for this bottom half, separated by these lines you see here. Wonderful mixtures. I even like how this goes into like a little bit of a teal greenish color. And I think this is really going to help me achieve the painting that I want to make with this photo. What I see here is that I can grab these grayish skin tones because we have a figure that is in very cool light. So these are very close to gray with a tiny bit of warmth in them, somewhere around in here, maybe even this area of coloration. And then the dress goes right to blue. So very cool, right on in here, maybe some purples in there. I could probably go up here with the coloration. Still gonna go a little bit towards a teal color, definitely. I'm not getting those crazy purples that are violets that I could get with different mixtures, but then I also can grab onto this teal to use in the background to really separate the figure from that background. I'm going to try it. I think it's going to be fantastic. But the one thing, I was doing some mixtures on this palette before to make sure that I wanted to do this color chart. And the one thing that I saw that was absolutely fantastic is I was doing some mixtures on my palette just randomly with cadmium red and phthalo blue, kind of like this, just making some mixtures. And I ended up taking a bit of that cadmium red and just popping it like right in the middle of everything. And what I ended up with was this beacon of orange color in the middle of these kind of greenish tones, because this phthalo blue is on the green side. It's a green shade of phthalo blue. And I thought it was fantastic. It's like this amazing, hot, just crazy accent of saturation that draws the eye tremendously. And I think it would do it even more if in some of these mixtures I add a little bit more yellow ochre and put greens next to it, like a more greenish kind of color, because that is the complementary to red. Just seeing that really blew me away. I thought that was really amazing, just being able to see the contrast between those two tones, two values. No, two hues. Get it right, Chris. Two hues. So what I would like to do is incorporate that into this painting. I may take the hair of the figure and really dive deep into cadmium red and see if I can make it work. But in the future, excuse me. But okay, so in the future videos, I'm going to continue working on this painting, but the entire palette's going to change. It's going to be a combination of exactly what you see on this color chart. Not exactly. It's going to be a combination of part of this color chart, which is yellow ochre, phthalo blue mixed with yellow ochre. Like all of these colors will be possible with the new chart, definitely. But everything that has a transparent red iron oxide mixture in it is going to go away. So it's going to be more of a combination of that chart and this one. This is yet the traditional Zorn palette, yellow ochre to cadmium red, these mixtures here, but without the ivory black. So having some of those connections together, I think is going to work really well. One last thing I will add is before I made this video and I was doing mixtures on my palette, I also tried Gamblin's Phthalo Blue, which is a blue shade of phthalo blue, not a green shade that I got from M. Graham. And I tried mixtures with that with cadmium red, and I didn't like how it mixed together. I did prefer the M. Graham green shade mixtures instead of this one. Just went to like a bluish gray, like just too quickly. I could probably make some really good purple tones with this, violet tones, grayish violet tones, but not so much. I also tried using, this is Rembrandt's ultramarine blue mixtures with cadmium red, and definitely didn't like how those mixtures came out. There is something about the intensity here with the phthalo blue that was just really eye-catching. Now, whether or not I can actually use those mixtures in a painting and make it work is yet to be seen. But that's what the future videos are going to hold. Me working on this painting, which I call Rusalka, and trying to achieve the magic that I see in this photo. Okay. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully, if you see the color chart videos that I made before and you see something in these charts you don't like, maybe you pick some different mixtures and you're like, wow, I really don't like this. Try doing a modular approach as well. Don't redo the color of the huge color chart from beginning to end, but just change one color in a section and see what you get. I think the combination of that plus the bigger color chart and maybe multiple ones will give you a lot more understanding of what's possible with the paints that you have, depending on the color and the brand, because that always makes a difference. Okay, that's it for this video. I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you want to purchase my artwork, go to my website, chrisbevan.com, linked in the description below. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.